Hi everyone, I am thrilled to welcome you to yet another bite-sized edition of L&D Superfood, an exclusive series by ETHR World. Much like a superfood that delivers multiple health benefits in a single bite, this series promises to deliver powerful insights and practical strategies in a concise, bite-sized way from the sharpest minds in L&D, designed to energize your thinking and fuel future-ready learning. This special edition, of course, is curated to spotlight the distinguished speakers of the Future Skills Conference 2025, where the theme is the evolution of AI powered learning. Joining us today is one such speaker who comes with an experience of over 20 years across HR streams and is known for delivering results. Please join me in welcoming Saransh Aggarwal, Global Head of Learning and Development at Cognizant. Hi, Saransh, welcome to L&D Superfood.
Hi, Sharon. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining us and really looking forward to this conversation today. So, just to start things off, I wanted to ask you that in an industry where tech is moving fast and expectations are ever evolving, how do you keep the culture of continuous learning alive at Cognizant?
No, great question. And I think what you've mentioned is right. In our technology, in our industry, technology really evolves rapidly, and continuous learning is crucial for career longevity. And that is generally acknowledged by the employee. So there is no concern about understanding the concept of learning. However, if you have to ask me to sustain this culture of learning, we need to, number one, understand what's the normative behavior of the group, provide a climate, and I'll talk about what it means of providing a climate, as well as understand what does learning mean, right? So at Cognizant, we focus on modern workplace learning, which means we empower employees to make informed decisions while providing broad guidance on beneficial practices without being too prescriptive. So, for instance, we have created a learning ecosystem with our partners, and it provides necessary skills, performance outcomes. Employees are encouraged to discuss career goals with their supervisors. We offer various learning journeys, and employees are allowed to choose between, let's say, classroom based learning or a self based learning, or how do they want to demonstrate the learning process. Similarly, if I look from a policy perspective, all industry relevant certification and training is covered by the organization. We provide access to an extensive learning library, and there are no approval process. There are no question on what they are learning as long as they are clear on their goals. And the third aspect is what is learning. And today, I think we have to acknowledge that learning is both formal and informal methods. It encompasses interaction and conversation, something like we are having today. That itself is a learning for both of us. It requires giving and receiving feedback, sharing knowledge. And it is important that as an organization, we recognize these aspects, and we have already moved away from tracking class attendances and measuring learning hours to emphasize what's the development of relevant skills and capabilities. So these things combined together helps us develop this culture of continuous learning.
I think that is a really good perspective, Saransh, and thank you so much for sharing that and talking about how important it is to, create that climate and democratizing learning in such a way. So thank you so much for sharing that. And now moving on to my next question quickly. With a global presence but a significant talent base in India, how do you strike that balance between standardized global programs and contextual learning that's relevant to each market? And additionally, how do you ensure that your learning design fits such a varied talent pool?
No, again, a great question. And but if you ask me, and I believe today the geography or market specific learning is kind of limited to if you're doing a language learning or cross cultural sensitivity programs. Again, if I look from our organization, Cognizant, we are heavily aligned with the skills and capability required for the roles. And when you start thinking about roles, then you know the proficiencies and performance outcomes are not contextual to a particular location or a geography. So if somebody is a project manager, irrespective of they being located in India or any other part of the world, their capabilities, their learning objectives, and what they want to achieve would remain the same, right? So I would say it's not the geographical or market theme, but we need to emphasize three elements. Number one, can we do a role based development? Can we ensure that it is relevant for the work which individuals are going to do? Second, can we bring in personalization, which means we understand what capabilities people need to develop, what prerequisite skills they have, and what do they want to, or how do they want to learn, be it a classroom or a project based. And then we give them an empowerment in controlling of the learning paths which suit their career goals. And this is how we can foster a sense of ownership and engagement in their professional development and take the focus away on the actual location of their work.
I think those are a lot of steps to kind of even out the playing field in that way. And, thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us. So, moving forward to the next question quickly. AI, as we all know, has sparked big hopes and big fears to go with that in the learning space, especially. So, what's that one misconception that you wish that we could just clear up for good about AI?
So the AI word has come up. Yes, you're right. There's a lot of debate about AI and fear, hope, misconception. But if you ask me, it is here to stay, and it is changing the learning and development. I would say in a way which was never seen before. If I have to take it you back through a bit of a history of the learning and development and corporate training industry, I would say there were three broad shifts, including AI. It was 15 to 20 years back when there was a lot of focus on e-learning, self-paced learning model. That's the time the lot of e-learning focus came in, and that made a big difference to how corporate training was happening. Next shift happens when we started recognizing informal learning. We started recognizing the experience platform and traditional learning management systems started moving off. That's the time I would say most of the forward-looking companies and including Cognizant, we moved away from learning hours. And now we are talking about artificial intelligence. Now, what does it mean? I won't say misconceptions or hope, but let's accept that AI is going to impact us in two ways. Number one, if I can use the term vector one, it's all about the productivity. It's all about how do we do my tasks in a much better way, much faster way. It could be defining competency frameworks, identifying assessments, creating course outlines, all those things with a reduced effort, much faster way. It's a real benefit. However, if you really want to leverage, and all L&D professionals, they need to find out new ways of learning and development. They need to, I would say, figure out how you can change the whole game plan. I'll give you a simple example. There are a lot of people who say that AI cannot aid in the behavioral and leadership development or coaching. But on the other side, there is a potential that AI could serve as a coach also. I don't know how you do it, Sharon, but I have seen younger generation, much younger generation, who leverage these chat GPTs or perplexity tools, and they communicate them like a friend. They don't use them as assistants. I mean, words like a bro, great, love, all those things are used while talking to the assistants. And we all need to appreciate that this is how they will use the tools, and this is how, as L&D professionals, we need to leverage these tools. So one side, we need to accept that AI is going to change, and it's up to us how do we visualize these changes. But on the other side, I would say true transformation is not just by the technology. The lasting value of human interactions, which are characterized by empathy and genuine engagement with mentors, peers, subject matter experts, still remains irreplaceable. So we all have to write a new playbook, which is a balance between technological advancement and human touch. And that should enrich the learner experience.
I think perfectly put, along with, all the AI developments and everything that is there to go with AI and the advancement of AI, along with, human empathy and experience. I think these are all the things that should go together always. So wonderfully put. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, Saransh, we're entering our rapid fire round. So here's the first question for you. What is that one mindset shift, according to you, that every L&D leader must embrace in 2025?
I would say just let go of all those frameworks which have been successful in specific contexts, companies, or geographies in the past. Just prioritize the people you're going to train. What are your business needs? What is the context in which your company is working? What are those economic, technological, and social environment? And address on so what. Simple construct of why, what, and so what, and figure out your objectives.
Next one. What's that one industry buzzword in L&D that you think is overused or used incorrectly, maybe?
Too many. But since we're talking about AI, and I myself use the word personalization, I think that's very important. What do we mean by personalization? And I think all of us need to figure out on personalization based on a specific context. For example, are we talking about personalization from an individual's perspective regarding what skills one need to learn? Are we talking about how different individuals prefer to learn? Or are we talking about a construct which is known as just as much learning, which means an individual is given a very bite-sized learning model, and that's the personalization we need. So depending on these contexts, the personalization changes. It's not a one size fits all kind of a thing.
Lastly, I would just like to ask you if you could use AI to solve one L&D challenge instantly, because we know AI is instant, what would it be?
I'll leverage statistics as a subject, and there is a concept of isolation of impact. What it basically means is there are various variables which interact with each other and their effect on the final outcome. And typically in the statistics, we do these experiments where all the interactive variables are taken and one particular variable is altered, but everything is constant. Now, if I apply it back on our organizations, there is a lot of data. And one aspect of AI which can be leveraged is to really scan through all this data and do this isolation of impact and figure out what learning programs or which training is actually impacting our final outcomes, be it a performance, attrition, talent attraction, or if we should use skilling as a tool to solve a particular problem. Because many times we just say, any problem, let's go for skilling or training. So this isolation of impact and AI is something can be leveraged really well.
I think that could be really interesting as well. Thank you so much, Saransh. You have been wonderful, and thank you so much for joining us today for this special episode.
Thank you, Sharon. It was my pleasure.
And now to our viewers, we hope this session gave you a strong dose of inspiration and practical takeaways to apply in your own learning ecosystems. This conversation is the perfect preview of the impactful dialogues we're set to host at our Future Skills Conference 2025, happening on June 11th at the JW Marriott, Sahar, Mumbai. As one of our featured speakers, Saransh will be joining other trailblazers to explore the evolution of AI-powered learning and the future of workforce development. So if today's session sparked some ideas within you, don't miss the chance to experience it all live. And until then, keep learning, keep growing. Thank you.